Welcome to Eggs and Issues, a monthly business program presented by the Portland Community Chamber, with presenting sponsors Bank of America, Martins Point Healthcare, and WEX, in cooperation with IDEXX Laboratories, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, and Oxford Networks, and television sponsor WMTW News 8, with production support by Headlight Audiovisual. And now, please welcome the Portland Community Chamber President, Bill Becker of Key Private Bank.
Good morning and welcome to Eggs and Issues. Who said we couldn't pull off Eggs and Issues in August? Great event. Thank you all for coming. This is the Portland Community Chamber's monthly business forum, where we gather to discuss business issues of the day. My name is Bill Becker, Vice President at Key Private Bank, and I'm the volunteer president of the Portland Community Chamber. Our special guest today is Senator Susan Collins. She'll be discussing current issues in Washington, D.C., and how they pertain to Maine. We'd like to thank the Marriott Sable Oaks for hosting us in South Portland today for this very special Eggs and Issues. Today happens to be their 25th anniversary, and we're pleased to be here to help them celebrate. Congratulations. And I see Ed Palmer at the back of the room. I know he was out there in a slicker directing traffic. Ed, congratulations. Thanks very much. Next, I want to offer some words about our sponsors. Our program is made possible through the generous support of our sponsors, all of them leaders in the greater Portland business community. Please hold your applause until I have mentioned all of them. Presenting sponsors, Bank of America, Martins Point Healthcare, and WEX. Cooperating sponsors, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, IDEXX, and Oxford Networks. Reception sponsors, Clark Insurance and Key Bank. Overall production support of Eggs and Issues is provided by Headlight Audiovisual, and our program is broadcast by our friends at Time Warner's Cable, now on demand, on channels 1, 950, or 1040. Our print sponsor is The Forecaster, our e-media sponsor is MainBiz, our radio sponsor is WGAN, who interview our speakers and broadcast live right here every month, except for this month. We would also like to extend and welcome our new broadcast sponsor, WMTW TV. Welcome. Nice to have you guys with us. We'd like to thank our special community partners, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Northeast Delta Dental, and the Portland Press Herald, Maine Sunday Telegram, pressherald.com. Now, please join me in thanking all of our sponsors for their generous support of Eggs and Issues. Our Tomorrow's Leaders program allows high school students to attend Eggs and Issues during the academic year. We'd like to thank our sponsors AAA Northern New England and Springborn Staffing for their support of this program. While school is not yet back in session, we do have a few students here with us today, including an international student visiting us from Venezuela. Please stand and be recognized, all of our students that are here. We also would like to thank Springborn Staffing and AAA Northern New England for their support of our program, Tomorrow's Entrepreneurs. This program allows students from Southern Maine Community College's Entrepreneur Program to attend Eggs and Issues for free. Baker Newman Noyes sponsors our Community Corner program, which allows area nonprofits to promote their organizations at Eggs and Issues. Our Community Corner partner today is Port Resources. Port Resources, a social services organization founded in 1979, supports individuals with developmental and behavioral health challenges to live meaningful and fulfilled lives in their communities. Port Resources provides a full spectrum of support: residential, outreach, outpatient, and professional development services. Serving hundreds of individuals and employing 300 staff, Port Resources is a vital part of our community. For more information, please visit their website at portresources.org or follow them on Facebook. With us today from Port Resources, our Executive Director, Karen McDonald, and Finance Director, Dinah Dion. Please join us in welcoming them. Thank you. We want to take some time to recognize any new chamber members who are with us this morning. On your screen, you'll see a whole host of new members. We're delighted to have you with us. If there are new members in the room, would you please stand and be recognized as well? We're also proud to welcome members of our Portland Veterans Network, our comprehensive free program for unemployed and student veterans focusing on jobs, wellness, educational, and networking opportunities. Welcome. Finally, I would like to take this chance to recognize a few members of the Portland Community Chamber of Commerce Board. Quincy Hensel has chaired our Eggs and Issues Committee for the past 4 years and did a superb job coordinating over 40 speakers during that time. She has recently been elected as PCC's new vice president and so has transitioned out of the chair's role. But I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Quincy for her impressive work over the past 4 years. Quincy. I also want to thank and welcome Justin LaMontagne as our new Eggs and Issues Committee Chair. Justin had previously worked on the committee and has stepped into this role with a great deal of energy and new ideas, and we look forward to working with him in the future. Thanks, Justin. Mike Bork, would you join me on the stage, please? You are somewhere. There you are. They said that often they say when you're following a leader in his footsteps, I'm following him in his hairstyle.
You have more hair.
I have more hair now. We'll see what happens at the end of 2 years. For the last 2 years, our good friend Mike Bork stood here monthly at Eggs and Issues as the president of the Portland Community Chamber. In addition to his role at this event, Mike successfully led the board towards a more collaborative relationship with the city of Portland and provided thoughtful leadership on challenges and opportunities. While Mike will remain involved and as vice president of the Portland Regional Chamber, I wanted to take this opportunity on behalf of the PCC board to personally thank Mike for his time as president. We spent some time earlier this summer at our retreat thanking Mike as well, and we were able to hear some words from him at his last Eggs and Issues. But knowing Mike's passion for the outdoors and hiking, we thought that this new book that just came out, Maine North Woods Walks, signed by Christopher Keene, would give you an opportunity to do something other than attend chamber meetings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now on to our program. Following Senator Collins' remarks, we'll have a question and answer session. For this portion of the event, please use the microphone closest to your seat to pose your question. Please introduce yourself and tell us the name of your company or organization. Senator Susan Collins was first elected to represent Maine in the United States Senate in 1996. During her time in the United States Senate, Senator Collins has been a steadfast supporter of Maine's business community. That's not surprising, because small business is a part of her heritage. In her hometown of Caribou, her family still owns and operates a fifth-generation building materials business that was founded by her ancestors in 1844. Clearly, the Collins family knows what it takes to run a successful business. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which represents more than 3 million businesses of all sizes, has recognized Senator Collins with its Spirit of Enterprise Award for her extraordinary efforts to help create a business environment that fosters economic growth so that the private sector can grow, and most importantly, create good jobs. In addition, the National Federation of Independent Business, NFIB, our nation's largest small business advocacy group, has repeatedly given Senator Collins a 100% rating for her pro-small business votes. In frustrating times like these, when there is so much gridlock in Washington, Maine is fortunate to have a senator who understands what the key to moving forward is working together. Senator Collins knows and is respected nationwide for her work in facilitating bipartisan compromise on many important issues, from homeland security to national defense and her hard work to protect jobs at Bath Iron Works, to education and business development. Before we introduce her, we'd like to take a moment to congratulate her on 2 items. First, this coming Sunday is her anniversary to Tom Daffron, her first anniversary. Congratulations, Senator. And secondly, Senator Collins has never missed a roll call vote. She has cast more than 5,200 consecutive roll call votes, a record. Congratulations. Please join me in welcoming the United States Senator Susan Collins.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bill, for such a generous introduction and for remembering my anniversary this weekend. My husband is coming up tomorrow, and we're going to celebrate, which will be a great deal of fun. Last night was at a beautiful home in Southport for a fundraiser, and I was driving in, and I was calling him, and I was describing it, and he said, "And so why am I not there?" But that's what happens when you have a day job. So if I can be permitted to tweak Portland's new slogan to the occasion, yes, life is good here this morning. And I so appreciate the Chamber's willingness to accommodate my schedule. I know you don't usually have this breakfast in August, and I'm just delighted to see so many people here and so many old friends. Although I've always returned to Maine from Washington on weekends, the August recess gives me the opportunity to truly travel the state and to talk with constituents and hear what is on their minds. Frankly, I've always felt a little bit of sympathy for my southern colleagues, like those from Mississippi. After all, I get to spend August in Maine. They have to go to Mississippi or Alabama. So just another advantage of representing the great state of Maine. I want to talk this morning about our nation's debt crisis, the prospect for comprehensive tax reform, and then some of my bipartisan proposals to get our economy moving again and to create much-needed jobs. Our national debt is now approaching $17 trillion. That amounts to $53,000 for each man, woman, and child in this country. And it is our legacy to future generations. Debt, of course, is the result of years of borrowing, and with borrowing comes interest. Last month, we spent about $18 billion on interest payments. That's more in that 1 month than we spend in an entire year on naval shipbuilding. That's more in each day, in excess of $600 million, than the annual value of Maine's fishing industry. That's a lot of clams. Checking to see if you're awake. Lobster and haddock, mussels. Excessive government borrowing crowds out the private sector, stifles business investment, depresses wages, and slows economic growth. And that's why economists have projected that we will grow by only 2% rather than the historical 5% if we do not get our fiscal house in order. In May, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office offered a chilling warning that when interest rates inevitably return to their historic levels, federal interest payments will skyrocket. If you look at my first chart, which I hope is magically going to appear, that was great, entitled The Major Components of the Budget, The first thing that you'll notice is that the columns tallying federal outlays from 1980 through 2020 increase at an alarming rate. I'll talk to you about the dominant orange section, which represents mandatory entitlement programs, in a few minutes. But first, I'd like to draw your attention to the red section, which grows from a small portion of each column to, by the year 2020, the third largest spending component. Those are the interest payments, and their increasing size will become a roadblock to economic growth. The chart of federal outlays demonstrates where federal revenues go. In 2012, nearly 64% of the $3.5 trillion in total federal outlays went to obligations for some critical, very worthwhile programs: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, civil service and military retirement benefits, as well as the interest on the national debt. Now, and that's the orange bars. Now, consider that we can spend that $3.5 trillion only because we borrow $1 trillion on top of the $2.5 trillion in revenues. In fact, spending on mandatory programs eats up 83% of every dollar that we collect in federal revenues. If you add in interest costs, 92% of every revenue dollar is spoken for before we even consider what is known in Washington as discretionary spending. And just because it's called discretionary doesn't mean it's like your movie money that you set aside. Discretionary programs are vital to our national security and our future. That category includes such important missions as defense, biomedical research, transportation, education. These are critical programs. Transportation funding, for example, helps to rebuild our crumbling roads and our deteriorating bridges. It allows products and raw materials to be transported efficiently, people to travel safely, and jobs to be created in the private sector. Now, I've had the opportunity to talk to the president 3 different times, once in a private phone call, twice at dinner at the White House, about these staggering numbers and what should be done. And one bit of advice that I've given to him, which he's yet to follow, is to go on national television and use his professorial talents and prestige to explain to the American people where revenues go. Because if you take a national poll on where the money is spent, people answer that 22% goes for foreign aid. In fact, it's 1% that goes for foreign aid. I have a feeling, given the low